Same sign. Passes. Approval of the minutes from January 21st, 2026. I will entertain a motion.
I make a motion to approve the minutes of January 21st, 2026.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
A motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Passes. We are on to new business.
All right. Thank you, Chair, members of the Commission. Our first matter of order today is election of new officers. We have typically been doing that in February, but we did not have our February meeting. So at this point, I am going to turn it over to you to nominate someone. You can nominate yourself if you so choose, and then look for a second, and then we will go from there.
I nominate Jason to continue as chair.
Is there a second?
Second.
I will accept that nomination. I will nominate Vicky as vice chair.
I second.
Okay, I'll accept. Thank you.
Okay. Should we take a vote on those nominations?
Sure. So we have a motion for me to remain as chair, and should we do them separately?
Sure.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. That passes. We have a motion on the floor for Vicky to become vice chair. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. And we officially have our new slate of officers.
Congratulations. All right, and our next order of new business, we've got some special guests with us tonight. We have Sean Finwell, our sustainability coordinator, and we have Ted Redmond from Pale Blue Dot, and he's also on the ENR. And I'm going to let Sean take it from here and do the full introduction, but we are going to be reviewing the climate mitigation plan draft for the city, so pretty exciting. So Sean, take it away.
Thank you, Audra. Thank you, Commission. I am glad to be here today. So I was here maybe 2 years ago talking about the climate mitigation plan and how we were starting that planning process. And at that time, we put together a climate mitigation plan team, and we called on commissioners from each of the commissions and boards to serve on that. So I did want to recognize the commissions that served on that, including Craig Brannon, who was a great resource for that project and offered a lot of great feedback. So that was very helpful. And today, now, after all this time, we have a draft plan in front of us. And so this climate mitigation plan is the critical and final piece needed in the city's 2021 climate resilience, in the city's climate resilience planning, and will address a key implementation strategy of the city's 2021 climate adaptation plan. There we go. So we did adopt this climate adaptation plan, which was one of the phases in our climate planning, and that, of course, helps the city adapt to the changes we're seeing in our environment here with the climate. And so this was one of the adaptation strategies. So we're working on that climate mitigation plan, and this will provide a roadmap for achieving meaningful emission reductions through 2036 in support of the long-term vision that we have. So tonight, we will be hearing from our consultant, Ted Redmond of Pale Blue Dot. Ted is also an Environmental and Natural Resources Commissioner here with the City of Maplewood, but he's serving tonight as our consultant on the project. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Ted to present our draft plan.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sean. Thank you, Chairman and members of the Commission. I'm going to push this back. I tend to be a loudspeaker, so if that sounds like I'm yelling, I don't mean to be. Okay, can we get the presentation up, please? So again, I'm Ted Redmond with Pale Blue Dot. I'm a resident of Maplewood, also on the Environmental Commission. But the reason why I'm here is that I am partner with my partner Colleen with Pale Blue Dot, and we are a specialized urban planning firm focused on sustainability and climate planning. So we do plans like this primarily for municipalities and local governments. We've done about, we've worked with about 90 local governments now in 23 states. Most of our work, though, is in Minnesota, Wisconsin, Illinois. And we were lucky enough to work with the city on the adaptation plan in 2021. And we are very grateful and happy to be working with the city on the mitigation plan here. So,
And if we could have the computer, please? There we go.
great. Just going to do a test. All right, good deal. This works. That's always good. So the climate mitigation plan, so as Sean said, this is sort of it's a sister companion plan to the adaptation plan. So in climate planning, there's really two aspects. One is adaptation, or working on resilience. And that is simply a recognition that climate change has already occurred and is going to continue to occur regardless of what we do to some extent over the coming decades. Therefore, what do we do to make sure that we're resilient? The sister piece is the exact opposite, which is what can we do to reduce our human contributions to climate change to reduce the long-term impacts. So in many ways, mitigation really is the number one long-term adaptation strategy, is reduce our emissions so that we reduce our long-term impacts. So the process that we went through, we started this in 2023, as Sean talked about. Started off with community engagement, survey, showing up at pop-up events and so forth. We then started our planning process in 2024, January 2024. And our process starts off with doing baseline research. So we updated the greenhouse gas inventory. We did a greenhouse gas emissions forecast. Where will our emissions go if we don't do anything? Created a baseline assessment with starter goals. And then we went through a collaborative planning process with a planning team made up of volunteers and staff, a few staff representatives. And then we arrived at having a preliminary draft at that point. And then we went through a very detailed process through the better part of 2025, very detailed staff review process so that staff could have an opportunity to review those preliminary actions and goals and integrate their thoughts around how that can fit into workload, et cetera, and refined those actions, and we arrived at having a full draft plan then that was available in January. We reviewed that back with our collaborative planning team, made some additional tweaks from both planning team input and staff input, and we are now here at a full draft that we're sharing publicly and through the commissions and council. So we'll be in front of the council on Monday. So our last step will be, of course, to complete the plan based on the input that we receive in this public review process. So as I mentioned, we started off with a fair bit of baseline research, community survey, baseline documents, and that arrived at what we call our baseline assessment. And the intention of all that was to provide as much content as we could that's community specific that we could use to base some decisions on, to establish some preliminary goals and explore actions. So those documents arrived at something that was really just a starting point for the collaborative planning team process. As I mentioned, our first step was a community survey. It was open for a number of months. I want to say it's 8 months. That's going on rusty memory. But it was open for quite a while, promoted quite a bit. And we had about 150 responses. And just some of the key takeaways from that, when we asked about concern about climate change, over 60% were extremely concerned about climate change, 17 very, 8 moderately, 2 slightly, and 13% not at all concerned about climate change. So it gives us a sense that it's on the minds of community members. When we asked about the city's role in climate action, over 79% of the respondents agreed or strongly agreed that it's important for Maplewood to take action to reduce greenhouse gas emissions. And 77% agreed or strongly agreed that it's important for Maplewood to be a leader in proactively addressing climate change. So that illustrates some support from the survey respondents. We also asked about experience, climate observations of climate change and personal impacts. And interestingly, 88% of survey respondents had noticed signs of climate change, and 87% had been personally impacted by one or more aspects of climate change impacts already. Our greenhouse gas emissions, these are as of 2022. We do have updated information through 2024, but we're sticking with 2022 for the plan just because that's what all the goals were established on. So, but that's okay. It's just it's a part of the process, a part of a timeline. But our 2022 emissions were 410,000 metric tons. The breakdown is roughly 50% in transportation, so that's fuel that we use in our cars and on-road transportation. Almost 2% in solid waste, and 48% in our buildings. So that's electricity and natural gas consumption. If it's got a little red X on it, it means that it's not quite going in the direction we really want to see it go in, that it's going upward, or at least in the last few years has been going upward. So it does give us a sense of where some of our focus can be. Our primary focuses really, in the long run, are going to be getting off of fuels, so natural gas consumption for our buildings and fuels for our vehicles. Those are going to be the persnickety ones that in the long run will really take some focused efforts. So our overall goal within this plan is aiming at 2036, so a 10-year plan. It's intended to be an interim stop-off point on a long-term journey towards 2050. So our interim goal is to reduce citywide emissions 46% below 2013 levels by 2036. 2013 is our baseline year. It's the earliest year that the city has a detailed greenhouse gas inventory for, so that's why we're basing it off of 2013. Our long-term goal in the plan is to achieve net zero emissions by 2050. Those goals, especially the long-term goal, is in line with goals that have been established by the state of Minnesota, Metropolitan Council for the metro area, and Ramsey County. So we're really just in alignment with the plan. And our 2036 goal is really focusing on trying to be in alignment with that as a part of the journey along the way. So the plan itself has 3 sectors or overarching areas of goals and actions. Those are transportation and land use, buildings and energy, and waste management. Those sectors then have 14 strategies or sub-goals that we can implement to achieve our overall goal. And those strategies are supported by 55 actions and partnership opportunities. So the opportunities to build on partnerships with utilities in the county and others, so we can partner to get actions done. And the intent is that it's implemented over a 10-year time frame. So as I mentioned, the plan has a number of strategies. So those are statements that are directional. We try to make them as measurable as possible. Not all of them are fully measurable sometimes, but we try to make them measurable as possible. And then those measurable statements, which often leave us wondering, okay, but how? Those detailed actions then are the answer on the how. Those actions are intended to be a menu of actions so that staff can implement them. We can implement them together somewhat flexibly, somewhat opportunistically, and really try to put the right action that fits in with each year's opportunities for implementation. I mentioned that there's also a number of partnership opportunities. So those actions that have particular opportunities for us to partner, be it with a program at the county or the utility or others, we flagged those just to point out where the city's really going to be working in conjunction with other entities. So I'll share with you the sector goals for each of these sections. So in our transportation and land use section, we're looking at a reduction of 46% in our greenhouse gas emissions by 2036, and looking to achieve that through 4 primary strategies, and that's reduction of vehicle miles traveled, so just using our vehicles less community-wide, increasing our public transit utilization, increasing our electric vehicle or zero-emission vehicle use. So we want to see those registrations go up, us choosing alternative vehicles when we do use them, and increasing our population density. And what we're really saying with that is that, hey, Metropolitan Council anticipates a certain amount of growth for Maplewood. We want to guide a portion of that, a fair portion of that, into areas that are already developed to reserve and preserve our green spaces, our forested areas, our wetland areas, et cetera. So trying to just build up that density a little bit. That percentage is not all of our growth, so some growth might continue to grow into areas that are not yet fully developed. The reason why we want to do that is slightly more dense areas tend to have much better utilization of alternative transportation opportunities. So there's a lot of good science behind that. So the second section is our buildings and energy. So in this section, we're looking at a reduction of 47% in our greenhouse gas emissions through 2036. And again, that is supported through 4 primary strategies. The first is increasing our use of renewable electricity. And when we talk about that, what we're talking about is distributed renewable electricity. So in other words, solar that I might put on my house or my business, or purchased renewable electricity. So not the renewable that's in the grid, but where we're actively, proactively increasing renewables within the community itself. It has some resilience opportunities as we do that, as well as reducing our emissions. The second supportive strategy is reducing our electric use. So we're looking for just increased energy efficiency, just increasing, switching out lights to LED, those kinds of things, doing what we can do to reduce our energy consumption for the things that we're already doing. Then reducing our on-site fossil fuel combustion, and that's a much higher number than our electricity savings, you can see. And we're looking to do that through 2 ways. One is also through energy efficiency. Hey, if my house needs insulation, let's get some insulation in there. So increase our how we can capture our energy in the house so that we're not using as much fossil fuel to keep it warm, those kinds of strategies. And also the last, which is fuel switching, and that is getting off of fossil fuel. So moving towards heat pump systems, electric systems, or hybrid systems, where we are either not using natural gas any longer or using it at a much smaller rate than we have in the past. So that's why our on-site fossil fuel combustion is a much higher number. And then our last sector is waste management. And in this sector, we're looking at a 13% emission reduction through 2036. And we're looking to achieve that through overall just reduction of our solid waste that we're generating. So that's just throw away less stuff in general. So being smarter consumers, just strategies that we can put into place to reduce consumption or generation of waste. And then very importantly, diverting our organics, so increasing organics diversion. We've got that awesome green bag program now from Ramsey County, so let's get that in use, get people using that consistently and using it well. Getting our organics out of that waste stream is a very powerful action. And then last, increasing recycling, and getting recycling done better and more consistently. So overall, the plan impacts those goals that I talked about add up to a 40, I should always put it in there because then I have to do math in my head because I have the numbers in there. In the plan, I actually spell it out, but on my slide, I forget to. So it adds up to a 46% reduction from 2013 numbers. And because a number of those things are very measurable and we have some good data, we can also forecast an overall order of magnitude cumulative savings of these strategies. So these strategies, certainly, if I increase my energy efficiency in my home, I'm going to invest something to do that. So there's some cost. But once I increase my energy efficiency, I'm going to save money. And as a homeowner, I'm going to think through which ones I want to do based on my return on investment. Maybe I don't care about return on investment, so I'm going to do something, but I can make choices that will give me a return. So what we have done is used the data that we have on how much energy we're consuming, what that costs, and then some good scientific data that gives us a sense of what is the investment that we need to make to create a return on investment of a certain energy savings. We know how much it costs to drive a mile and own a car, and we know the cost difference between an electric vehicle versus an internal combustion vehicle. So we can anticipate how much more money we might spend on that electric vehicle, but also how much we can save. So the short of it is that with these areas that we do have metrics that we can use, we've anticipated what the cumulative cost and cost savings could be for our community. These are community-wide. So if I upgrade my house, if I buy an EV, et cetera. And cumulative meaning that if I'm an early adopter and I increase my energy efficiency year one, I'm going to make that savings every single year. If I wait until the last year, I'm only going to show up on that cumulative number once, right? So a cumulative total savings potential of roughly $180 million community-wide over 10 years. So we point this out just to indicate that there is benefit for us to step into these actions as homeowners, as residents, as renters, as business owners. These are things that can help us create a better world, create a better community, and save money, ultimately. So lastly, in the plan, we have a section for what you can do. As a community-wide plan, of course, the city can do some things, but the city can't do everything. The city can't come to my house and put insulation where it needs to be. The city can't come and make sure I'm turning off my lights when I need to. These are behaviors that we all can step into. And so we've put together a section on what you can do. So it's available in the plan. It's got some helpful links to help support us all as residents or business owners, kind of making our own climate mitigation plan. What kinds of things can we do that we want to implement in our personal world? So in terms of our next steps, we have presented this to the Environmental Commission. That was last week. We're going to be presenting to the City Council in a workshop on Monday. The plan is available for public review, and that URL and that QR code will take you there. So it's on our website, paleblue.LLC // I never remember which one's which, Maplewood-CMP-review. So that takes you to a web page that's got, it's like a landing page. Each of the sections are broken out so people can kind of choose which sections they want to review or review them all. We would love for, if you have neighbors, community groups that you're involved in, that you can share that information, let people know that they can review the plan. We would really love to get as much input, much eyes on the draft plan as possible. So anything you might be able to do to help promote that would be very, very helpful and very much appreciated. And then and that's available through April 1st. Then we will kind of take all of the input that we've received at that point into consideration, and then make suggestions with staff on tweaks to the plan, and then come back for a final draft presentation with the Environmental Commission on May 13th. And then we anticipate bringing the final draft to City Council on June 8th. So that's my story. Thank you very much for letting me be here, and I'm happy to answer any questions or anything I can do to help.
Have you noticed a difference with people working remote from transportation and home? And what do you
Yes.
see?
Yes, absolutely. If you look at Maplewood's emissions, vehicle emissions and our miles traveled from 2013 through 2019 was kind of a steady increase. And then 2020 dropped off the cliff. And then from 2020 through 2020, well, frankly, through 2024, it has been increasing. We are still less than where we had been just prior to the pandemic. And I think, and that's frankly pretty consistent. We've done inventories for a number of communities in the metro area or kind of around the region. It's a relatively consistent diagram that we're seeing. And so there's, I think, hope for us to think that some things have changed. You know, that we've all learned that Zoom can, you know, remote meetings work, right? Working from home can work for a number of folks. So that's a hopeful trend that we can help promote. How can we help support that and encourage that where it's appropriate? So.
Thank you.
I do have a question to see if this goes hand in hand. And I went back to the sector goals where it says increased public transportation usage. I'm wondering if that means that we'll begin to see more electric buses. There are a number of them out there. And would they be getting rid of the gas buses to accommodate the plan?
Yeah, those are great questions. And I do know that Met Transit does have goals around continuing to increase the energy efficiency of their fleet, which would include, continued evolution of, going to hybrid, more and more hybrid buses, full electric or other zero-emission vehicles. So I do know that that is a part of their long-term plan. But what I can say is that even if you can think of, and we're not encouraging this, but if you think of the dirtiest fuel bus out there, if we all took that bus instead of driving, it is still better than, even if we're driving pretty energy, fuel-efficient vehicles, it's still going to be better. So, and that's frankly, the Met Council doesn't have the dirtiest buses, so I'm not trying to I'm not talking smack. I'm just indicating that even in that condition, it would still be a good thing for us to do. But because they have been working on their fleet that has been getting cleaner, it's even better than it would have been 10, 20 years ago. And I anticipate that it'll be better in 5, 10 years as we work through this plan.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ted. I just wanted to add also that this is an example of one of those partnerships the city can partake in, partnering with Met Transit. And, of course, we have our own city fleet that we could work on as well with electric vehicles and so forth. So that's something that we can do as a city.
Are there potentially any actions or opportunities for Parks and Rec that would come out of this?
So I think, first, what I can definitely say is there is absolutely tons of opportunities for Parks and Rec, especially as throughout the entire kind of climate program for the city. The adaptation plan has an awful lot of conversation around green space, trees, ground cover changes, et cetera, that is extremely fertile for the Parks and Rec Commission. Relative to mitigation, where we're focusing on reduction of emissions, I think definitely, how can we be supportive in our park system for fleet consideration, for the kinds of equipment that we're using in our park systems, transitioning towards, lower and lower emission equipment or zero emission equipment, electric, et cetera. Continuing to think about, as we improve our parks, how do we use solar or on-site renewables? How do we get off of fossil fuel, move to net zero buildings that basically produce their own energy on-site? So fleet considerations that relate to parks efforts, all of those things are kind of dead center, I think, for what Parks and Rec can do in support of the plan.
And Ted, and if I can, Chair, members of the commission, one thing would be the Wakefield building, when we did build it and made sure that it was solar ready, and now that's coming to fruition, we'll be putting solar on the Wakefield building. And then Sean is also doing a project at Wakefield. I'll let her talk to you about it a little bit here.
Yeah, so we can certainly make improvements in our park buildings. Any new park building would have to be constructed under our current green building code. Any city-funded building, which has to meet or exceed, I should say, current state energy standards, and we're going to be improving that code as part of one of the action items here. So that's something that our Parks Commission would be interested in moving forward. And then also, as Audra had mentioned, waste management. I mean, we have a lot of opportunity for collecting recyclables in our parks, and we do a pretty good job, but I think we could do better. And we've started a pilot project at our Wakefield Park. So this year, look for some new park containers out there that have better signage, and also in the interior of the building. So that's something where parks can make some improvements too.
And if I may too, just kind of riffing here a little bit more, one of the biggest things that, for a community-wide plan, one of the biggest things that's needed is a continual awareness campaign. Helping people hear about what they can do, what choices make sense, help clear the air of misconceptions or misinformation that's actively put out there that people who maybe aren't as they don't consume information from all different sources, whatever. So the ability to have communication campaigns, sharing knowledge, signage, information that can be provided. And, the parks are an important public space that people go to. We have buildings that people use for recreation and other meetings and events and so forth. So might there be opportunities for the parks to have some kind of information opportunities that can relate, not, of course, to, green space considerations and so forth, but also mitigation opportunities. Hey, did you know this solar on this Wakefield building does this? Or, hey, did you know that an electric car is this much better than that? Or, just opportunities for us to put information out there for people to be able to connect with. The parks are an extremely important opportunity there.
Are there any opportunities for younger people, such as people in schools or childcare facilities, to assist with this operation?
Absolutely. I would start off with the same kind of an answer that, the ability to help share information and initiate conversations, support getting information into the hands of other community members, families, and so forth is super powerful. A gap or a space that always exists between municipal plans and community life is the missed opportunity that is usually there between cities and schools. Cities and schools like each other. I mean, it's not like we have problems, but schools have very specific missions where they have things that they're looking on, and they're doing important work, and cities are doing important work. But the reality is we're all dealing with the same families, right? We're all aiming at the same people. So there's an awful lot of opportunity for how might there be shared communications or shared energy where campaigns can be going on in the schools or students. Roseville, for instance, in their high school, they have this group of students, Students for Climate Action, and they're super excited about taking Roseville's plan and creating projects and programs that communicated into the school or into the households. So there's an awful lot of opportunities around there. And then, of course, our schools, our buildings, our schools use fleets. The actions that we have in the plan are, if they deal with municipal buildings, then we will do these things because the city has control over their buildings. Everything that's not a city building, we are encouraging, we are trying to help promote, we are trying to help incentivize. And there are some suggestions about what the city can do with its buildings that we say, oh, by the way, how can we encourage the schools to do the same thing? So sharing some of those strategies that the city is looking at with the schools to say, hey, have you guys thought about this? Here's an opportunity. Hey, did you know the city's doing this? Maybe we can partner together to try to get the schools in on some of those same programs or ideas. So there's an awful lot of space for that. And lastly, one thing I've learned is that most families will really get into climate action when their youth come to them and say, we're doing this. Nothing motivates a parent more than having one of their children come forth and say, hey, this is important to me, and I want to put energy into this, and I want you to help me. And that can help families. So.
Mr. Chair, if I may, I have a suggestion also for students. The Green Step Cities has a program for schools. It's called Green Step Schools now. And Maplewood has been participating in Green Step Cities for many years now. And it's a program that helps the city follow best management practices for sustainability. And you work with your peers and see what they're doing, and there's a lot of different resources. But I think that's the city of the Roseville School. They're involved in the Green Step Schools. So if you just look on that website, I mean, it's a really easy guide. You just need a group of students who are passionate and want to be involved. So thanks for that question. That's a great one.
Yeah, and that's something, if I can get that information from Sean, I can email that to you.
In fact, and with that, I'll add on too, if there is interest in that, we can connect you with the Roseville Students for Climate Action just to see if they have any lessons learned that they want to share or can share. And also, the school district, being a Green Step school, they have a principal that's involved in that, they've got a couple teachers that are involved in that, and they've got administrators that are involved in that. So we could also help make connections to say, hey, if you want to connect with them and learn about how did they get into it, or connect teachers together or whatever, that could be a potential.
I have a couple questions. If we were to have a neighborhood gathering to go over some of this with our neighbors. Now, the green bag, I've had different people think it's different things. You don't have to bring that to a location if you
No.
fill. See, a lot of people, it's just too much work. So you just fill it and you put it in your garbage.
It's a beautiful program, yeah.
So-
So you just put in your, any organics,
Mm-hmm.
chicken bones, whatever it is, and then knot it up, and you just drop it in the top, or anywhere in your garbage bin. And when the waste truck comes and picks up your garbage, they literally take it to the distribution center and they dump your entire garbage on the floor, and then they push it onto a conveyor belt, and they've got robots that pull the green
Pull
bags
those
out.
out,
It's
okay.
amazing, it's an amazing project.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure. And then I noticed also it says that refuel your car and mow your lawn after 7 PM. But does Maplewood have a ordinance that you shouldn't do that after 7 PM? I don't want to tell them to do
That's a
something
good question.
that's.
I'm unaware of that. I know my neighbors, if there is an ordinance, my
They're doing
neighbors
it.
don't pay attention to that.
Okay,
but-
yeah, I just don't want to tell the neighbors, hey, go ahead and do this, and then have everybody get, okay.
Mr. Chair, we do have a noise ordinance,
But it doesn't matter with mowing the lawn.
especially if it's an electric mower.
Yeah, there you go. In which case, you can
Yeah.
mow it all day long. if you
Yeah.
And that strategy is really
Yeah.
around ozone generation. So if we must use fuel, it's one strategy to help us at least reduce its impact.
Okay, thank you.
And that's a good point also, if you have a National Night Out party, you know, we could promote the climate mitigation plan. We can give you some resources for that. Or, you know, Ramsey County, they have resources, they have the food scrap kits that you can hand out for residents, you know, to get them, like, what is this bag? What do I do? You know, so,
Yeah, that's what I've had people ask, and I'm like, you just fill it and put it in your garbage is what I do.
yeah.
Okay.
It's super easy. It's a
Okay.
great project. Great.
Thank you very much. We really appreciate your presentation. Thank you.
very
Thank
much.
you.
Thanks for your questions and input.
Thank you.
Unfinished business, 2026 Parks and Rec Commission goal setting.
Okay, thank you, Chair members. And again, thank you, Ted and Sean, for coming and presenting for us, so. All right. So we started our goal setting last meeting in January. We did not have our February meeting. And so I took some of the thoughts you had for what we could do, and I typed those up just for us to review with against the 2025 goals. And I was having a little trouble with my disk drive, and now it is not wanting to, I'm having a little trouble, but let me see if I can get this to open a little better. If not, we might just go with what's in front of us, but, let's see here. I ended up having to actually take it and put it in a, there we go. I had to put it in a, Microsoft Word was the best way I could get it to do it. It crashed right before the meeting, so I apologize. I wanted to grab it before I came down here. Let's see here. Well, even with the header on there, if you can give me the computer in just a second. Let's see. Trying to make it as wide as possible. Well, if you can give me the computer, we'll work with this. It's all good. This is just to review the goals from last time. You have them in front of you, but, and again, for our goals, we always make a point to tie them to the strategic priorities created by the city council, and we had reviewed those last time as well. But the goals from 2025 are here, and for those of you who weren't at that meeting, it was review and offer recommendations on park improvement plans identified in Maplewood's 2025 CIP plan, continue to look for new ways to engage in community outreach and be involved in 4 community events, take a bus tour of our park system, hold a meeting to discuss connectivity and trails with neighboring cities in Ramsey County, hold a meeting dedicated to review the implementation progress of the Nature Center and Programming Task Force recommendations, that's a mouthful, and receive regular updates as well. value the youth perspective and recruit, appoint student PRC members, receive annual updates from the MCC YMCA, as well as updates from community groups and partners to look for ways to work together, and review and evaluate current and future signage as part of park projects and redevelopment. So those were your goals from last year, and then we had to do, some of the recommendations you had with those were to divide them into categories of stay informed or stay engaged. And so I did categorize the goals that we reviewed at the last meeting. And the first goal here under stay informed, and whether you still want to do that or not can be up for discussion, but we had talked about the goal number 1, and then actually at the end of it, it was recommended to just take it out completely because this is something that the commission felt that you had always done and that I'll always be bringing things to you for review. So is it kind of redundant to have it as a goal? So that would be a final decision for you to reach today. And then hold a meeting dedicated to review the implementation process, progress of the Nature Center and Programming Task Force recommendations and receive regular updates as well. I don't know why that ended up being 2 goals. It would just be 1. Again, like I said, I had a little bit of trouble right before I came to the meeting, so I apologize. Receive annual updates from the MCC YMCA as well as updates from community groups and partners to look for ways to work together. Review and evaluate current and future signage as part of park projects and redevelopment. And those were under stay informed. Under stay engaged, we had take a bus tour of our park system, and then the group in January decided they wanted to make it an actual goal to take a tour of the Maplewood YMCA Community Center. And so I did put that now temporarily as a goal. Continue to look for new ways to engage in community outreach and be involved in 4 community events, and that's under the stay engaged section. And then we had, instead of 2025 goals, number 1 and 4, if we did take those out, there was a suggestion to make it a goal that speaks to staying informed of not only Maplewood projects, but also those of our neighboring communities. We didn't figure out the wording exactly, but that was to replace those 2 goals. And then replacing 2025 goal number 5 with reviewing program task force recommendations and discuss implementation. That was the way to pare down that, the task force recommendations goal. And then there was the recommendation to tie our 2026 goals to the strategic plan, which we had decided that we had wanted to do. So I'm going to pull away from the overhead for now, and you have that in front of you, so I guess it would just be some conversation if I did accomplish what you had wanted me to do as far as tweaking the goals from the meeting. And then if anyone had any other ideas, we can just kind of go from there. But you've got those both sets of goals in front of you to work from. And I will just turn it over to you.
The statement that we're looking for the wording for it that says instead of 2025, stay informed. I crossed out that. It said stay informed of Maplewood projects and those of our neighboring communities. Just narrowing that down, taking out some of the wordings.
Sure. And did that capture what you, I mean, that was kind of what you were getting. I think it was being aware of if there's a new trail getting put in. It was kind of to consolidate down the meeting just for trails and connectivity and the other one. So how you'd want to word that goal, but I think the point of it was to make sure that not only are we hearing about new things and what's going on in our own system, but what's Ramsey County doing, what Maplewood Oakdale's doing, North St. Paul. Do they have any projects like the Lake Links boardwalk with Little Canada that will affect us, so that kind of thing. And you had expressed maybe making that an actual goal to stay informed, so.
What if we said, maintain awareness of current and upcoming projects in Maplewood and surrounding communities to support informed decision-making?
Sounds great.
Sure.
Let's call it that.
Yeah.
So then with that one, we get rid of number 1.
That would be
Yeah,
like
it was
a
kind of number
combo
1,
deal.
and then that dedicating one meeting to connectivity was to kind of those 2, and then make it into a goal that kind of encompassed all of that.
Okay.
And then we would put that under, do we still want the categories for stay informed and stay engaged. Is that something that we feel that you would want called out in the goals? Okay. So then I would put that one, that new goal would go under stay informed. Okay. And then that replacing the 2025 goal number 5, that was actually, the wording actually came right from you, Chair. And again, at that meeting, people liked that wording of it, so I just wrote it down verbatim for the way we had it. And that would actually replace the goal 5, which was hold a meeting dedicated to review the implementation progress of the Nature Center and programming task force recommendations and receive regular updates as well. So that would be replaced then with review programming task force recommendations and discuss implementation.
Yep,
Sounds good to me.
yep.
Okay. And then, again, we don't have to rush through it, but for those of you who maybe weren't here for that meeting, if you had any ideas for other goals, but otherwise, we did have a really good discussion and went through these pretty thoroughly at the January meeting, so.
I would like to ask about the YMCA, which has been a goal ever since I came, probably since Terry's been here.
And I just, I don't know if we've been talking about, but they're trying to do some updates of major, big updates. And so I've been going to the open houses over there, and I asked, can I take a tour by myself right now? And wow, do they need major updates. A lot of broken windows. The basketball court is no longer a wooden floor, it's a cement floor because of water damage, so the kids could get hurt. A lot of stuff isn't there that used to be there. I went through the locker rooms, they're very, very nice. That has been a new update since I've gone the last time. I belonged there up until 2020, and then I quit going because there were never any lifeguards, and I liked the water aerobics, so that was my major thing. My son works out there every day, but he says it's packed, so they do have and there's a lot of people going to this open house to get ideas. They want to know what they want to do over there. And I don't know if they're done. Do you know, Audra?
Chair, members of the commission, no, they're just starting the process of.
I don't know if they have any more open house to talk, or if that was just they just had 2 of them, or if there'll be
They
more.
had the 2, yeah.
But I would suggest if you guys had a chance the next time they have one, go, because you can hear what the residents say, what they want, and then you can also take a look and see what we need. I think they really need a pool. That seemed like it was something big, and they need something for kids. I think we need something for kids to keep them safe and off the streets, so it's good to get your input, and I would suggest go if they do it again.
I agree. I remember years ago, they did some summer programming for teens, and it was free of charge for them to be engaged and involved. And I just think that finding out more about what programs they do have, not only the structure, but what programs are upcoming. I would just like to connect with them a little bit better than we have in the past few years. We always have them on, but we did not.
And that was another reason I suggested we do a tour.
Yes.
Right.
I think it's a good idea for
Yeah.
us to actually go see what's going on, and I'm glad I went and took a tour myself the other day.
And
Sure.
they
Chair,
did come
members of
here
the
and
commi-
present last year, didn't they?
Yeah, chair, members of the commission, so there was 2 things with that Y conversation. That is always a goal because the commission had felt strongly they wanted someone from the Y to come and give an update on what's happening. And then when we talked about this in our January meeting, someone said similar to what you said, that it's been an ongoing goal, and they said, well, how about we take it to another level, maybe go on a field trip and actually go over there ourselves. And so that was why it was just tentatively put as its own goal. But the open houses, I wanted to look it up before I said for sure. I was like, I'm pretty sure there's one more on Friday.
Is there?
but
Okay.
there was one on the 16th. There is one, it's in the morning, though. They did the afternoon ones, but they also have Friday, March 20th, so this Friday from 8 to 10 a.m. There's an open house, and they will have information out there and where you can give some feedback. So, and there's a stakeholder review Tuesday, March 24th at 4:30 p.m. I'm not 100% sure what that means, but
that
the
is
open
either.
house, the next one is this Friday from 8 to 10.
Thanks for checking.
Sure. So the question would be, do you want a tour as a standalone goal for that, or is that a way, is there a way to incorporate that into the existing goal about getting updates? So I'll just turn that back over to you for some thought.
I think we could have it as a standalone goal, similar to our bus tour, to make sure it doesn't fall by the wayside. I think it's important that we get over there and take that tour, so I would say make it a standalone goal.
Audra, I have a question, a clarification question. Are we still Parks and Recreation, or are we Natural Resources now? Because
That's a good question. Our division, staff-wise, our name of our division is Parks and Natural Resources, because we also have Sean, our sustainability coordinator, is in our department now. We have our natural resources coordinator, but the commission is still the Parks and Recreation Commission.
Got it. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, so it is still in a scope in our purview to check up on the YMCA. I just want to make sure.
Sure. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So I guess like there's been kind of some ongoing things with the YMCA the last couple of years, but in terms of like the city's commitment to the YMCA and like some of the things that you're seeing at the YMCA, kind of what is the channel? Is it only the open house that people can provide feedback on, or kind of how does
Chair, members of the
work?
commission, for right now, that's where they are in the process of getting community engagement, is having those open houses and getting that feedback. But they've been coming to, there's been discussions at council workshops about the Y, and we're working with them just to figure out a long-term plan for what we can do, going forward with the building and what it's going to look like and how it's going to be serving the public. So this will be an ongoing thing, and that's why I think it's good that you have it as a goal to receive updates, because when they're in a position, they could come over and speak to some of the things that are happening. Terry, you mentioned the gym floor, and yes, there was water damage in the building, and the floor did have some warping, so they had to take the floor out there. It will be fixed, but in the meantime, they wanted to still be able to use the floor. It had been closed off, and so they actually had someone come in and paint the lines for the basketball court. It's not ideal, but it's so they could still use the gym until it can be fixed, and yeah.
This might be a tangent, Audra, but do you and the parks staff have a role or influence in this YMCA restructuring, redesign?
The city is working very closely with the YMCA staff and going forward with the planning of the city. We own the property, we lease it, the YMCA, they operate it. So the city does go hand in hand with the YMCA. It's not just the Division of Parks and Natural Resources, it's the entire city is working with them. So, but like Terry mentioned, there are a lot of things that need to be fixed. It's an aging building, and there's improvements need to be made, and they've got to figure out the best path forward. So they've been working on it, a lot, and there'll be more stuff to come in the future. And so I think, like I said, when it's a good time, I'll make sure that we've got someone to come, and maybe at one of the next meetings we can talk about what is going up at the Y and get into it a little more in depth, if that sounds good.
It does sound good, but I do have a piggyback question there. So the city owns the building, someone else manages the building. So the financial obligation, if they would be asking for money from our budget, the city's budget would be going through. There's a connection there financially, I guess is the question.
There's a financial connection from both entities, so, okay. Yeah. And like I said, I think at another meeting, we could maybe have a focus of just what exactly is happening at the Y, and I don't want to misspeak, so.
Yes.
But yes, it's definitely something that, is that we're working together with. The YMCA and the city are working together.
There were quite a few people there that would answer a lot of questions too when I was there, stuff like, I don't want to say exactly what they said, but you get the word from them.
Right.
But there was a lot said about how to finance it and everything, so.
Yeah.
It's worth going to if you could.
Yeah. So back to, these are all good questions and thoughts, but just to circle back, so do we want to have the two goals where the YMCA Community Center I mentioned and leave it the way it is?
Yeah, I think
Okay.
we should do that, yes.
Sounds good. Then with that, I would have, so we would take 1 and 4, combine it to the new goal.
Yep.
5, we would reword that, and we added the goal of take a tour of the YMCA, Maplewood YMCA Community Center. And the other goals that I didn't call it were ones that you liked, that I had written down that you liked and you wanted to stay
Yes.
as is. Okay?
So is the only thing left tying the 26 goals to the strategic
Oh, that
plan?
was just a note that we would do that. Someone had suggested at the last meeting to put which strategic, part of the strategic plan, which one of the drop-downs that it applied to. So if that's something you still want to do, I wanted to make sure we had the goals, what you wanted first, and then we could, I mean, we don't have to get this done at this meeting. We could bring that back and just finalize which strategic relevance we'd want to tie to the goal, if that's what the commission would like to do. Otherwise, we can, I don't have the slide with me right now, but, because there were the 3 areas, there was safety, sustainability, and development. We could keep it as simple as that. Otherwise, there were quite a few drop-downs, so then you really get into, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 under safety, 4 under sustainability, 5 under development, but we could, at this point, we could just tie them to safety, sustainability,
Yeah.
or development.
Yeah.
I think
I
that
think
would.
it's, yeah.
Okay, so we can go down the list and we can, so for goal number 1 then would be, our new goal, and I'm gonna watch the meeting back to get your wording exactly right, Jason, unless you wrote it down, but.
Yeah, I have it written down here.
But with that goal, would you want me to put safety by that, sustainability, or development? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, maybe development.
Or it could be more than 1. But that's why they have the drop down. So we might get in the little weeds there, but we could maybe have this as a further discussion as we go on. Like, this could be the goals that we adopt for adoption purposes, but we could talk about tying them in at another date, whatever you'd like to.
Yeah, at least for me, I think I would like to see like the final draft of each of the lines and then tie it.
Yeah.
Okay, well, why don't we just
Let's
do that
do
at the
that,
next
yeah.
meeting then?
Yep,
I think
that'll work.
that would be good. All right.
If
Well, I
I may-
appreciate all the thought that went into, not just rubber stamping the goals. We've spent a lot of time and have come up with some really thoughtful goals.
What did we do with this, the third, right under the tour of the park system, the tour of the Y, the third thing that was saying, continue to look for new ways to engage, are we leaving that? The third bullet point there?
I think so, yeah,
The-
'cause that's an engaged,
Community events, yeah.
Okay.
yeah.
Yep, we're going to leave that.
Yeah,
Okay, and I just want to like reword a little bit, because we say continue each year. If we can just say, look for additional ways to engage
Okay.
versus,
That works.
look for additional ways? Okay,
Mhm.
yeah, sure. Look for additional ways. Ooh. Oh, my.
Guys.
That hurt the ears. Okay. All right, so look for additional ways to engage in community outreach and be involved in 4 community events.
yes.
Got it. All right, anything else on this? I don't want to rush you away. All right, well, then I will type up those final goals, and
Okay.
then we can have it side by side with the strategic plan recommendation, and go from there.
Great.
All right.
Any visitor presentations? Doesn't look like it. Commission presentations? Anybody have any? Okay. Staff?
I was just gonna ask
Oh,
one quick
go ahead.
question.
Sure.
I think next month is already April, which is coming up fast. We should probably focus on this new student for
Yes.
next year, because May
Yep.
schools are super busy, and especially when they're seniors and everything. So I think maybe next month we should probably get that on the agenda.
Yep. Actually, great
You
thought.
probably did that, so.
No, it is, and Saham had actually had some information that she was going to share, and I'd asked if she could bring it to the meeting or email, and I haven't gotten that from her yet, but I wanted
Okay.
to make sure to have it by next meeting. I didn't know if she would be able to bring it
Okay.
tonight, but yes.
Okay, perfect.
It's
Thanks.
that time. This year has flown by.
Sorry, just wanted to get that in.
And I wanted to say hi to, I didn't want to ignore that you came in. We're happy to see you at the meeting tonight, so.
Thank you. Also, oh, hi. I just wanted to ask, sorry, I didn't want to like kind of keep going about the goals because we've been talking about it a lot, but I just wanted to ask about community outreach with how we can involve students, like, and not just high school students, but also elementary school students. I know that some of my memories of learning about climate change were during my STEM class
Oh, sure.
in when I was in like second and third grade, and I just am wondering because especially with touring surrounding areas, maybe if we could, like especially with student commissioners of the high schoolers, because I know that there's a lot of high school and elementary school interaction with kind of showing elementary school students what activities they can do in high school. Maybe one of those tours could be going to surrounding elementary schools and just talking to them about what we do here and just informing them of the importance of their neighborhood and like the parks that they go to, because I grew up in this area and have gone to a lot of parks, and I just know that I think involving them a little more, making them feel like they have a potential say in how their neighborhood can be changed at all, I think that would be really important if they just knew about it more.
Sure, thank you for that. That's great. And when we do in community engagement for, say, a new park plan or playground or whatever, that's always we always try to encourage kids to come with the parents and make sure they're putting the stickers. I don't know if you ever did that, put your sticker on your favorite, but yes, we could do a better job of outreach for kids as well. So if you have any ideas that you want to share and you could maybe bring to the next meeting that you could share with everyone, that would be great.
I know Weaver, when my kids were there, they did a bunch of the rain gardens or whatever, and still to this day, when you walk by, they're like, I did that one, and even with Audra, here, the kids did all the gardening over here, my kids did with Audra at day camp years and years ago.
Right.
But they still say when they walk by, I did that.
The butterfly
Yep,
garden.
yep.
We could send the student commissioners to lower grade schools to talk about being a student commissioner. So then it's in their brain, and then when they get to high school, they can think, I heard about this, I want to do this. So
Yeah. Great idea. Yeah.
staff presentation is where we are.
Just some updates for you. The first thing, the one flyer we'll pull up, and let's hope it goes better this time. There we go. It is that time. Our Easter egg hunt is coming up Saturday, April 4th at Edgerton. It'll be outside unless the weather's really bad, and if so, then we'll have treat bags and eggs and activities and things in the gym, but hopefully it'll be really nice outside, and registrations are filling up quick. If you are interested in coming to help out the day before, Friday, April 3rd, Edgerton doesn't have school, and that's when we decorate the gym and get all the things. So if you're interested in helping us get the gym decorated and all ready for the event, let me know, and we can add you to the crew. And if you want to come the day of, if you want to come and we do everything from handing out the prizes to running the snack table to helping guide the bunny around with when they take photos, because the bunny has a big photo op. We'd love to help, so if you're interested, let me know. It'd be great. And it is free, but you do have to register because we always get so many kids, and we need to know how many eggs to hide, because we hide thousands of them. So just getting an idea of how many kids would be there. So if you have someone ages 3 to 8 that wants to take part in the hunt, you just need to sign up. And also, we do have bags, treat bags for kids that are, the younger kids that don't do the hunt, so they can still come and have the breakfast and do the crafts and things, and they can get a treat bag, so. And I guess I just wanted to let you know our Bluebird, I'm not even gonna put the flyer up, because we had a Bluebird monitoring class that we've offered, and we've offered it before, but for whatever reason, people are excited about the Bluebirds this year, because we had an overwhelming response. They had to close it, we had too many sign up, and it's this Friday, so Caitlin, who you met at a previous meeting, she's gonna work to offer another session, so everyone who didn't get into this one, I mean, as of Tuesday, we had over 40 people sign up, and so, yeah, it was, usually we get maybe 10 is like a really good sign up, so we'll be offering another session, so I was excited to see that. And then just a couple of things, we had the Friends of Maplewood Nature, I don't know if you remember when John Zakel came to talk to everyone, and one thing they always do is their gnome hunt every February. It's kind of their, winter doldrums, and they hide little gnomes that the kids have made around the trail, and you go and find them and take a picture with your favorite one. I don't know who won yet, but this is just a picture of, let's see if you can have the computer. Just a quick picture of these two very happy girls. We just snapped a quick photo. They were very happy to find, they were hidden all over the nature center trails. And then they will pick a winner from those who submitted their photo, and you can win Dairy Queen gift cards and some other things.
Snake Discovery.
There you go.
We do it every year. We love it. We really look forward to it, my daughter and I.
Yeah,
So we were out there on day one finding them all, so it was a good time.
gotcha. Yeah, and I don't have to share any more flyers, but I do want to give you an update on Century Ponds, because we talked about the playground. Things are moving, they're amping up. And so we are meeting next week with the developer and their playground consultant, and we will be meeting to look into getting to the nuts and bolts of what is feasible. We had our wish list, we had that kind of overall plan you saw, and some examples of some playground equipment. I just wanted to say, it may not be exactly that, but it will come back to you for you to see again before we go. But we'll be sitting down with them to see what's feasible, but we're getting excited because it's becoming closer to being a real deal, so we'll have our new park in South Maplewood. Yay. And that's all I have for tonight, if you don't have any questions for me.
Does anyone have anything else that we need to discuss? If not, I will accept a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. We're closed.